All right, so here we are with our next Bachelor update. Okay, so episode 4 of The Bachelor aired this week. Um, Shug, you got a chance to watch it in your busy schedule. You got to watch it.
Yep,
So what did you
finally,
think?
finally, it was cool. They dropped five more bros on him, man. Like they keep giving
Hey, not
him
so
women.
fast.
When are they gonna drop
Yeah, but
me?
so it was 20 when the episode started. It was 20, and the show started off with 24. So now he's like, all right, I got this out of the way. All right. Whoa, we got 5 more. Hey, like, all right, let's go for it, man.
Yeah,
So that's basically how like the beginning of it was.
but according to the producers, they said that. See, this is the thing when you finally get a Black Bachelor. They said they had a record number of women submit um I guess their auditions or whatever to be on The Bachelor. So like this brother brought the women. I was just like, all right, well, we have to get more and more women on here. Like it's cool, and I
Yeah.
think it's cool that they did that. The fact that it was like, all right, like listen, we have to put this out there. Like all of these women were interested on coming on the show because you were The Bachelor, and we had, instead of just turning them down, like we're putting them on here, and like it's cool. I just thought that was like really nice.
Yeah. It was like if I was probably a producer, I'd be like a conveyor belt of just like packages of women, just like nudies and stuff. I'm just like their diaries and stuff. Like, oh my god, yeah, swimming in it. But yeah. So they had the first they had a cocktail. They had like the group date, right? The beginning of it was group date.
Yeah,
Um, we still have Victoria is like the heel of the season,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. She's she's a bad guy. I mean, well, I guess she's there for the narrative. Cause like like her and Matt don't even like have their date. I think they had their first like little one-on-one thing in this episode. So some of the women like he sent home, I'm just like, you sent her home but you're keeping Victoria. But it's TV, it's reality TV, so they kind of have to, if everything was all hunky-dory it would be boring. So they need Victoria, and then Victoria kind of came out like my favorite Katie.
Mm. Yeah, they had to sit down. And they kind of like I think they know that they're like kind of like wait, Katie's your favorite,
Oh yeah, Katie's been my number one each episode.
so obviously we're gonna clash them together. Yeah, they're gonna put them together and like have a create a feud. Because I'm looking at this from my point of view of like a wrestling thing. Like
Yeah, because
who do you want on TV?
because what was it? Anna, she one of the new girls. I guess they ran in the same circles, and she tried to like insinuate that the girl was like a escort or like a sugar baby and stuff like that, and it was kind of like unfounded.
Sex
Um,
worker.
I don't think they said anything about sex. It was just like the person, who guys like they kind of pay for just to hang out with them and stuff. Things I can't afford. But Anna, she's like cute, but like she talks with her teeth. Like she closes her teeth, but she doesn't close her mouth. That's kind of like a weird thing. Cause like I got like a weird shit about teeth.
Teeth.
Yeah, like I don't like
And
looking
teeth
at
are weird.
people. I don't like looking at people's teeth.
Me
Um,
either. What do you when you look at someone? When you look at a woman,
mhm.
what do you look at first? Like your forehead, eyes, nose. What do you look at?
Just the face. Just
Oh,
the
okay.
face.
Yeah.
Like if your face is like makes a shape that
My
I
teeth is weird.
find
Yours are
attractive. I
weird.
don't know. That song was weird as hell to say. But yeah, like she thought like she's cute, like, but she finishes every sentence and she's like, I think she's
Yeah.
yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? I've never seen you do that
I'm just
before.
like I'm trying to imitate her. She's like, I heard from
Will you pay for that?
I heard from people that email me and they said she's a sugar baby. And I just,
Jesus Christ. Hey
yeah,
man,
man.
if that's like, hey, that's the same amount of money probably for a semester of fucking pre-med, man.
Like,
You should have
listen,
worked at it.
Anna, if you're listening and
Annie, can you hear me?
you ever want to ride King the car, you don't got to go to Great Adventures if you pass through the Bronx. I'm just let you know, but that shit you do with your teeth.
that-
I was trying to do a Magic Mountain. Was it Space Mountain?
no, yeah.
I was trying to do the
Well,
Rick Spear. Space Mountain.
Suge went very, very northeastern, right? He went very, very Great Adventure Northeastern on you. Kingdom Come. Come on. No one knows what Kingdom. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. No one knows what that is.
Nah, that
Jesus,
was my
that's
favorite
funny.
shit. You ever seen that the Legends of Wrestling or on WWE when they have like the
I haven't.
panel and they always have
Yeah, I have one of them over here.
they'd have Ric Flair on it and he always does the space on thing and he's like, I always used to tell a woman like, hey, you don't gotta drive down to Florida. You could just go to this Marriott over here in Atlanta and I could take you to Space Mountain. And it's like every
The
episode
funniest
of
thing
it
is
uses
it.
it. But it was something we
Yeah,
used
he
to
has
say
to
all
get
the
it
time
in.
in the
I
80s.
have them over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Kinnikai, yes, we all
So
know that.
yeah, so it's kind of like building up to this thing where it's gonna be about like bullying and kind of like little catty, women getting catty. We talked about it a little bit when they were having like their little group sessions at the resort or whatever when they would talk about stuff.
Right.
Um,
So the first one, did Chelsea got the group date rose, right? Remember that?
yes, and I actually wanted
So
to
that was
talk about
one.
that because I wanted to talk about
It's two
Chelsea.
episodes in one usually.
Actually, the two people I got, the two people I got the group dates and got the group date roses.
Yes, she's
Michelle.
the one who got the second one, and Brie. My second one is that's my second one.
So Chelsea is the first one. She actually she has her hair, she has a short, like the bald haircut. So she explained how like growing up, as a black girl, all her friends was white. So she always used to like straighten her hair and she kind of felt uncomfortable wearing her hair natural. And I was just watching it, I was thinking, and mind you, as I've said, I've never watched The Bachelor before, but I'm pretty sure this is not a conversation that a bachelor has had with a contestant on The Bachelor ever. It was cool to have like these real like seeing this black man talk to this black woman and her talking about her experiences as a black woman. And then later on in the show, one of the girls that were new, Michelle, I actually have her in my notes as the black girl from Minnesota because every time I think about black people in Minnesota, unfortunately, before the
Prince.
events of the summer, I always think about the Chris Rock. Like, ain't no black people in Minnesota. The only black people in Minnesota are Prince and Kirby Puckett. And unfortunately, both of them
Mm-hmm.
are no longer with us. But somebody else
Yeah.
who's no longer with
6 years
us and
almost.
is associated with Minnesota, George Floyd. Um, Michelle,
Yes.
she's
Very, very true.
she's a teacher up there in Minnesota, and I guess she teaches in a black school, in a primarily black school, and she just talked to Matt about like the trials and tribulations of like relating to black kids and trying to explain to them like what happened with George Floyd and just the real world, and it's something to it's something true and something that's not discussed, like the educate, people who don't give educators enough credit because you don't just teach like, shit in the books. Like as things are happening, things need to be explained. Like I always tell the story about how like on September 11th, I went to the school and it was like a really, really bad school. So once the buildings were being attacked and stuff like that, the announcements were being the PA announcements came through and like nobody heard them because we were all being wild and crazy, dumbass kids. And the teachers never really like relayed the shit to us. I mean, it could have been our fault too because we were loud and they probably couldn't even pay attention to the shit either. And it wasn't until we went home that we found out like, yo, this is
Oh
happening.
man.
Not only that, but like looking up in the sky and seeing like smoke. Yeah, so she kind of had to explain. I guess she was talking to Matt about how she had to like explain to the kids like what happened with George Floyd and why the protests and the different stuff like that were happening at that time. So it was that and his conversation with Chelsea. I'm like, this black man talking to these black women, that's something you didn't see on a Bachelor before. And like, I don't know, maybe like middle America or stuff like that, they probably were turned off by it. But like me as a person of color watching that, I was like, all right, like I'm really appreciative of this. And like I kind of hope like a lot of people who don't know about the black experience looked at that and was like, oh, so that's what that's like, you know what I'm saying? Especially like with Chelsea, because you always got that thing with black women. I hear it from my sister a lot where you go through this world and it's like, you go to work or you go this place and that place, and like people are like, "Can I touch your hair?" and all that shit. I don't remember that. As you've seen through this pandemic, my hair, how it grows and stuff like that. So when I was a kid, I used to have people like, "Can I touch your hair? Why? Oh, your hair looks nice." Da, da, da. Like, can I touch it? And I used to kind of entertain that shit. And like as an adult, like I'm realizing like nobody should be touching your fucking hair. Like I've never seen like a white person.
Yeah.
Like Mike, I never said, Mike, can I like run my fingers through your hair? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's weird as hell.
Yeah,
But
that's
for black
weird.
people,
I've seen that.
yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that shit. I've seen that shit. Like, when I was younger, I think I don't know, like someone I was with was like they had the kind of like dreadlocks or whatever, and they were like people touching and all. That's weird. And then like more recently, I seen, oh my god, like because like obviously someone had extensions and stuff, and then people were like complimenting it, but like bring attention, like all right, just let it go. Like that's the thing about this. She's in Middle America, like people getting put off by possibly potentially, but would you prefer it be no one knows and then someone who's younger they're watching and then it just becomes normalizing it, if that's a weird word to say, that's a weird term to use, but just like, so then like someone who grows up, like who grew up with people in real life, not watching on TV but in real life, people that watch it only on TV, then they just like it's like normal to them, and then it's not like a whole like, oh my god, it's exotic, oh my god, let me touch your hair, like, is that a good result of a show like this for people that live in an area that's like, you don't have
Places
relationships
never
with
seen a
people.
black people before.
Well, they do, but they just don't. They're not in a personal. There's a stigma of hanging out with them and shit like that. I'm pretty sure that's obviously still going on. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Is it
But
is it better just to get it through it virtually? Because how everything we do now. I'm trying to do like a 2020 wrap up, but 2021. Like
I
you know what
mean,
I mean? Trying to like.
I've said it several times in the episode. This is why representation matters. Like growing up as a kid in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, Mike, you could look up the demographics. Like the shit is 90% black. You know how I got to know white people and how I got to the level where I'm like, oh, white people aren't dangerous and like not every white person is bad and shit like that is from TV. Because you see them on TV, you seen good white people on TV, you seen bad white people on TV. Whereas like for many, many years, it's like you see black people on TV, like more often than not, they're like the thugs or the bad guy, or if it's a woman, like she's loose or she's ugly or she's fat or she's sassy or something like that. So I think like having those conversations on The Bachelor is important, and I think that's great. The fact that you have the first black bachelor, and like he's actually having conversations about being black. Like you've had 2 black bachelorettes, like I've said, ended up picking white men, and I'm pretty sure on those episodes they never talk about the experience of being a black woman, or being black women. Whereas like Matt from the first episode, he has to sit down and talk about, well, you know what, my mom's white, my dad's black, so I don't want to feel compelled to pick somebody specifically because of their race. And then you see this conversation where he's having these 2 women, these 2 beautiful women. And I think every single one, the exception of Victoria, I think all of these women are like gorgeous. And these are women, Hispanic. Like Brie, I think Brie is half black and half Middle Eastern. MJ, like white.
I'm a fan for her.
Like all of these women are like gorgeous. Like Katie, like she's my favorite, and she's white. And it was like, to talk about Katie, like like I said, she's been my favorite. Like honestly, Mike, like I'm gonna say this right now, like I almost want him not to pick her, so that way I know like she's single and available, because she is awesome. Like if I was on that show, I think I said it in last week's episode, I was like, I would have ended the show early, the same way this chick did, but apparently, her and the guy she picked, like they broke up. But if I was a bachelor, I was like mid season, I would have been like, yeah, I'll pick her. Like I don't see the point in wasting any of these other girls' time. Like she's cool. Like she showed up the first day with the vibrator, and like Victoria tried to press her on the vibrator thing too, and she stood her ground. She was like, yeah, I brought my vibrator because I'm confident in myself. Like, and I was just like, this is awesome. And then the fact that like she stood up for Sarah after Sarah had to leave to spend time with her dad. She stood up for her in front of to Victoria and also the other girls in the house who were kind of like, oh, she's gone. Da, da, da. She wasn't here for Matt. Blah 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 blah. And she was like, she's basically like, I kind of related to it. She was like, all right, she's gone. Like, there's no need to insult her and all that stuff. And I just like the fact that like she stood up, and then on top of that, when the whole thing came out about the girl, Brittany, who was the one that Anna tried to say was like an escort and stuff, and that kind of rumor got spread out. Like she was the one, she ran outside, and I think like Matt was talking to the producers, and she pulled them to the side and she was like, listen, like these girls are getting catty and it's really like toxic in there. And she jumped in front of it, and I was like just really really like impressed by her. Like she's my number one. Like
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you about that because all right, so Katie's the one who brought her up and everything, and people are saying that she's trying to like, get attention, and then a lot of people that are like fans, like on Twitter, they're like kind of saying that she's trying to like doing kind of like an opposite of Victoria, like kind of like getting her shit in to be the nice one, shit, and then that's going to backfire on her. Like that's what the thing that from this week. Because you got to remember, this is reality TV, and it's like there's fans, and they have their own fucking theories and shit. That's just thing what I got from I wanted to hear from like people that have seen all the other shows too. We were watching it from a different scope. We're watching it from a different lens. But yeah, so what do you think is going to happen with like going forward, at least week or two? Because at this point, I think we're probably like 10% through it only, or 10 or 15% through the season, depending on how it goes. You never know. So, what's your prediction for next week?
I think the whole bullying thing is gonna come to a head, and I could see Anna being the one that kind of gets sent home, or kind of getting the like brunt of it. I could kind of see, and I'm kind of seeing like Victoria kind of pushing the narrative about like the girl Brittany, but Anna being the one to kind of like fall on the sword. Like she's kind of like using her, like kind of like, you know, being a puppet master of the whole thing. And like Anna kind of unwittingly falling for it. And it was kind of like a weird change in like character, because I thought Anna was like cool. I thought she was pretty. I thought she was cool. Like I said, the only shit I don't like about her is the teeth thing. But you are who you are. If you do that, you do that. Maybe it's like your thing. But for her to be
I
like
mean, yeah.
for her to be like that, like kind of like I said, catty. Like I understand, like 5 new girls came in, but like I mean, that kind of like saves you. I kind of like let you stay on for like a couple, like an extra week, because he could only send home but so many girls.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And then I heard there's like the whole thing about the Matt's parents, like Matt's dad and stuff. Like that came up too as well, right? We talk about that. How there's rumors of Matt's dad showing up on the next episode. I was on the forums.
Oh, I didn't see.
So
Yeah, I didn't see that in the previews. But if that happens
okay,
next
so
week,
yeah, so
I'll be fly. Because we seen his
yeah,
mom,
because I'm
we didn't see his dad.
yeah. Same with me with Big Brother. I like finding out like what fans are saying and like previous contestants and people involved in the show have to say about it. Because of course you're watching the show for a reason. I'm watching the show from like a production thing too. Like I want to know like, how they get these shows together, like especially in a time like now. So I always like on Twitter I find out like weird like backstage stuff that I find interesting to me how the way they film it.
Yeah, and like the last thing I'm gonna say, I want to get it in before we head into the final thoughts. Like the boxing, that's cool as hell, because that would have been a fly ass event if I was a bachelor. Because me, I like a woman that could throw a punch, and like some of these Johns were like landing them, and they could throw like a mean hook. So that would have been one of my favorite events. So that was kind of cool that they did that in this episode. And my the fact that Matt had to stop, he was like, "Yo, they're gonna get hurt." Like this was all fun and games, but like, I think it was Serena P. Like she caught one square in the nose, and he had to like help her ice her nose. And yeah, I really like that segment.
You ever even fight? You ever any two people fight over you like that?
Oh man, I wish. Perhaps there has been. Perhaps there
You wish,
has been.
perhaps.
Perhaps there has been.
Verbal
I'm not.
jousting.
I'm 30, so I can't remember all my conquests. Perhaps I have. Yo, shout out. Yo, anybody who's been with me before and you fought a chick, let me know. Hotlines are open. 1-800-223-9797. Hot 97, plays in hip hop and R&B, y'all.
Boom. Funk Master Flex Night. Funk Master Flex Night.